Hey guys, it's Krista and Kevin from LCRC, and today we're going to do a comparison between the Traxxas Sledge and an 8-scale off-road truggy. Join us. So when I first saw the press release on the Traxxas Sledge, I said to Kevin, I was like, oh, is this going to be a new class of RTR on the track? Are we going to end up having a class for the Traxxas Sledge like there's a class for the Traxxas Slash? And Kevin said,
don't think so.
So now that we have the Sledge in hand, we thought we would do a nose-to-nose comparison versus an actual racing truggy.
So to look at the Sledge right out of the box, I mean, it's a typical backyard basher, big tires. It's got one of Traxxas' new super cool body clipless body mount system. It's got a nice wing. It's deceiving because if you take the wheels and tires off of it, which we'll show you a picture here later, but if you take the wheels and tires off of the Sledge and take the wheels and tires off of an 8-scale off-road truck, they're a lot more similar.
Okay, so by first glance, the Sledge obviously looks a lot bigger than your Nitro Truggy we have here, but...
And it is. It's almost a half-inch longer. So the actual 8-scale truggy wheelbase is like 14 7/8, where the Sledge is 15 1/4. And listen, these are ballparks, so you guys, no need to fact check me against Traxxas' spec sheet, okay? Again, just the fact that the wheelbase is even relative or in the ballpark is a great thing for Traxxas lovers who want to not only bash in the backyard, but maybe you have a local track that you don't necessarily want to become a full-time racer, but you'd sure like to go try a couple laps and hit some of those jumps and have a vehicle that, I mean, it's track worthy for sure.
Okay, so if we are comparing, can you put yours right up next to mine? So if we're comparing the tires that come on the Sledge, this gives you a better idea of the size difference between the two tires. So right off the bat, if we take the tires off, you're gonna notice that it's going to feel more similar to the Truggy.
So Truggy tires are about 5.5 inches across, where the Sledge tires are, I mean, they're 6 3/4 across. So they're obviously a great deal larger, but the Truggy tires,
yeah, they fit right
on the Sledge.
And it is, so it is 17mm hex, and the wheel nuts will work in its place. Do those go away? We just found our new basher tire. Oh my gosh, look how different that looks with that on now.
Well, and that's the thing. If you put 4 Truggy tires on the Sledge loses a ton of its curb appeal. But all of a sudden now it's way more agile and way more fit to be on an off-road track as well.
Should we pull off the tires all the way around of both?
Sure.
Oh, give me that one, I'll keep that.
That is one thing. The offsets in the Sledge wheels are, I don't know if they're half offset, but probably close. Whereas the truck wheels that we use nowadays, no matter which brand, are 0 offset.
Okay, so now let's see. So why don't you talk about this wing design? What do you think? My initial thought is, now Flashpoint came out with that wing thing last year that was like, oh, people liked it because it was strong or whatever. I noticed that on here. That's like a plus, huh?
I'll tell you as soon as I measure the bolt pattern. I can tell you right now it's got 4mm bolts in it instead of 3s, which it's a larger pattern. If you bought one of the wings, one of the 8 scale wings that were not pre-drilled, obviously I'm sure that you can make it work. I don't know. I would have to drive the truck and, you know, find out.
I mean, if we're not talking about 8 scale, but we're talking about basher style, I mean, like, there's a lot to the wing. I don't know if that's good or not until we use it, but it feels robust.
Well, the thing about a wing, and this goes for not just 8 scale, 10 scale, all kinds of RC car applications, right up to full-size 410 sprint cars. The wing serves not only a functional purpose for aerodynamics, but it is also an energy sponge, meaning that when you crash, the wing flexes and absorbs the energy of an impact, where you might break a $15 wing as opposed to bending a $45 aluminum rear shock tower.
Sure.
So it serves several purposes.
I was gonna say, shall we redo our measurement of, what's this called, wheelbase?
Mm-hmm. Center to center. You can actually, if you want to trick it, you can hook it on the front and just measure to the front.
Okay, so 15 1/4.
Yeah, and it's 14 7/8. So again, I was pretty close.
You were, for judging with it. Okay, so now I think we should do a race to see who can get the body off faster. My body versus your body. I win. Okay, so clipless design.
So let's hold on.
Hold on.
Now let's do the next race. Let's do a race to see who can put it back on.
Well, now this is like my first time, so.
But I have an antenna though, so.
Oh, hold on, my tires are in the way.
You win.
I win. So that's really handy, and I've noticed it on the, are they called the Vortex? This clipless.
Vortex, yeah.
Yeah, the clipless design has been on the Vortex, and it's really handy. So, especially, I like how it comes in this way. A lot of the other ones go in that way.
Yeah, so I as well really appreciate that. The thing that would intrigue me about the clipless body design is going to come down to, again, if you do take it out on a track or get to jump and skateboard ramps or something, how well does it stay on during an impact? I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that's why they changed the direction of the tongue in the front. Instead of it going in this way, it now comes, so in a frontal impact, it's forcing the body to stay on as opposed to flexing it and popping it off.
Sure. Okay, so if we pop your body off, my initial thoughts under the hood the first time I saw it was that it is not a remake of a Revo. It's not a remake of a Max. This is its own car. And it definitely does follow the 8 scale design.
It's definitely a new platform. It's got a lot of new stuff. Like every time we look at it, like just now actually, I noticed that the upper shock bolts are 4mm diameter. This is the first car, I mean, aside from the 5th scale stuff, like this is the first 8th or smaller vehicle that I've ever known to not have 3mm upper shock bolts. So that's kind of huge. I mean, it's definitely well built. It's got the inserts in the A-arms for rigidity, and you know, it's got a lot of cool stuff.
So then if we go back to comparison, I will say the first thing I heard you notice when we got it out of the box was about the A-arms. So compared to an average 8 scale A-arm.
Well, in the plate inserts in an 8 scale, that's very modern technology. You know, most of the major 8 scale race car brands have adopted this design over the course of the last, I'm gonna say 5 years. So to see Traxxas adopt that technology or that design, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, someone was paying attention.
Yeah. I'm not digging the solid one-piece plastic camber links.
Yeah, so limiting your adjustment. They're plastic.
Well, they've given you adjustment holes to change the camber link for the roll center, inside and outside. But how do you adjust the camber then after you change the roll center? Like, I guess that's so when you buy the optional stuff.
Well, and I would say to you, as a Traxxas fan myself, for the newbie, they're making it so you can't screw it up, right? And that's what we like Traxxas for. Traxxas isn't to be, you can't change everything to do every setup sheet, but you can't mess it up. So maybe that's the benefit.
I actually would be anxious to see how the gear mesh adjusts at some point.
Oh yeah, okay. We haven't looked into that yet.
No.
Did you notice the fan mount on top of the motor?
Yeah, I did see the bolt pattern for that. So one thing I do want to touch on is the battery situation with the new Sledge. One of the things that we like to do in the store when we're selling Traxxas cars to a basher, we really like to stick with the Traxxas ID batteries and the new Traxxas ID chargers. It's very user-friendly, especially for newbies using lipos and the whole bit. The connectors are, they flow good current, they stay together. Everything about it is pretty top-notch, with one exception. They're all soft case. So when it comes to racing, that's a huge problem because everywhere you go, the hard case lipos in 8-scale electric racing are mandatory. So some tracks turn a blind eye to the rule, others don't. I'm not going to say your local track wouldn't allow it, but I would for sure check with them before I just showed up for the day to register to race your Sledge with a Traxxas soft case.
So if I remember correctly from the paperwork, this will run a 4-cell or two cells. And in a lot of the paperwork, I saw them suggesting the two cells over the 4-cell. Can you think of a reason that would be? Because I even noticed the connectors here are for the dual battery.
Well, so that's the problem that they run into. So Traxxas wants to have this be able to run on 6S, which they don't make a 6S battery.
So 2 3 cells.
So you run 2 3 cells. Well, in order to run 2 3 cells, it has to have the in series connectors.
Yeah.
Where for me, I'm only going to run it on 4 cells, so I'm going to stick this 6700 big old bad boy in here. And I mean, that's just awesome. The fit is superb. I would want to put a little foam block under to protect the wire, so when you're endoing into jumps, it's not the wire isn't bending and butting up against the battery box. But other than that, and then I myself would take and I would unclip the in series and push it back together with just a single. Now, anyone that's worked with Traxxas connectors before, you don't have to cut wires and solder to do this. You can actually you can push the pin out, take this jumper out, and put it back together with just one connector. Pretty lickety split. And
in fairness, you should not do anything with the connectors or the batteries unless you are a seasoned veteran with these things. LiPo batteries and especially ESC polarity is stuff that can ruin things. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it.
She's really good at the disclaimers.
Should we look at what a two cells look like in it? Or I guess you have two 3 cells.
I brought 2 3 cells over.
Because I can't imagine how that's going to be nice and secure. But they said upwards.
Yeah, they want them up like that.
Like this?
Yep, that's why the foam block was in there.
I didn't touch that.
While she's putting in the 2 3 cells, I would like to show, just for comparison's sake, this is a factory extreme 6500 4-cell, like what we use in our 8-scale electric race cars, and this is compared to the Traxxas 6700 4-cell that we sell for the Traxxas ID. So there is a fairly significant difference in physical size and weight. The Traxxas battery is not only physically larger, but it is also heavier. We will do a little comparison to see if this fits also.
Well, so far I'm not real impressed with.
Oh, there you go. That looks good.
Yeah. see how there's a little
wiggle.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not real pretty. I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
So, not bad. And then you could run 6S. So again, most tracks are not going to permit 6S
No, certainly not.
So really a 4S or two cells, I guess, would be an option as well. And the only thing I can think of for a basher, if let's say that you currently have a Slash or something that's running 2 cells, the 2 cell might work out for the batteries and the chargers you already have.
Yes, that it could be a benefit if you were already using that. One other thing that I just noticed while we were here messing with this truck, I forgot one of the first things that I noticed when we, it comes with a metal servo horn, which is pretty cool.
As well.
So a little bit of bad news, the Factory Extreme hard case battery does not fit.
Should we get a shorty and just see, just so?
Well, this is a pretty standard case size. I can't imagine that they don't have a battery riser for it, or that they're not going to make one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. For now, we'll just have to stick to that. One off.
So I guess side-by-side comparison-wise, we need to talk about chassis.
Well, again, Traxxas lovers worldwide can correct me if I'm wrong, but this thing has droop screws. Have you ever seen a Traxxas car with droop screws? I don't know that they're actually being utilized.
It's just got you the face.
Sorry. It doesn't actually have droop screws in it, but the A-arms are drilled, and the chassis does have the ears for them. Same with the sway bar situation. The A-arms have the cutouts for it. You can see that the gearboxes have the inserts for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that there's a ton of upgrades and possibly already available. Guiltily, I haven't done a ton of research on what Traxxas has offered for options for this.
In fairness, they've been very slow to release information. So I think everybody's in the same boat of learning with us, because they're kind of dropping a little bit at a time, some promo teaser type stuff, but there's not been a whole lot out there. So that's kind of why it's interesting to see it up close, especially from this perspective, from a race car. I guess final thoughts as far as how do you compare it to an 8-scale Truggy?
I mean, unfortunately, this is my nitro truck. I don't have an electric one put together right now, but two things I'm thinking right now. If I'm going to take this truck, I'm taking off the quick release body mounts, and I'm putting on traditional body mounts and putting on an actual 8-scale race truck body. Wing wise, I don't know. I don't have anything against that one. You know, I'd have to see how it holds up and how it drives, you know, how the truck drives with it on. But I would also take out the blue aluminum I-beam in the center. I get it.
Is that really what it's called?
Oh, that's what I'm calling it.
It is like an I-beam.
Actually, it's like a T-bar.
Yeah, okay.
But I would take that out. The chassis does seem to have traditional chassis braces like an 8-scale with this additional aluminum bar on the top. I think for doing backflips off of a dirt bike ramp, I think it's a great idea. But for, you know, some chassis flex and traction and good handling on an 8-scale off-road track, I think that the T-bar's got to go.
Yeah. I would say, you know, as I've said before and even earlier today, is I'm a Traxxas fan because of ease of use. So I'm imagining some of our customers who really are backyard bashers, but would like to come out and play on the track from time to time and have something that works a little bit better for both. I think that this is a better alternative than the e-Revo or even the Max to be something that can go on track and home. I think it's super innovative for Traxxas. So it's exciting to see them doing some things to lean towards the knowledge that's been gained over the years from 8 Scale Offroad. So that's exciting to me. I just feel noticed. Like, you know, they know what we're doing and they see what's worthy of that.
Well, you know, up until the release of this thing, the Max was the best, what I would consider track-worthy Traxxas truck. Pretty user-friendly, pretty robust, quick, 4-cell, you know, the whole bit. This thing, if you literally pulled it out of the box and changed 4 wheels and tires on it, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to make the A-Main and E-Truggy the first week out, but I am telling you for a fact it's going to get around the track better than any other Traxxas car to date.
Yeah, I think we both can agree upon that.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess I'm excited to see it hit the dirt and know what it can do. It's hard to tell until then, I guess.
When can I get it out?
This is the first delivery, don't touch it.
She never lets me play with them in there.
Thank you for joining us today for the side-by-side comparison between 8 Scale Offroad Truggy and the new Traxxas Sledge. We hope you enjoyed this. If you have thoughts for us or comments, please leave it in the comments and like and subscribe. Visit us online at lcrcraceway.com. See you next time.